welcome back to the channel, and hope everyone's year is off to a great start. As promised, today I have part 2 of the U.S. Citizens Government Debt Forgiveness Package for you. Just a quick update, the national debt now tops $34.2 trillion as of February 5th, and in 3 months will probably jump to $34.4 trillion. So that's about a $200 billion increase. Once again, just to address a few lies, citizens do not owe the government $100,000 each, and every taxpayer does not owe the government $265,000 each. Okay, picking up where we left off last time, non-native born citizens, meaning anybody that came here from another country and then became a citizen here in the United States. So for category 1, I have those citizens that are aged 14 to 24 receiving a payout of $2,000, and then those citizens that are aged 25 through 30 receiving a payout of $4,000. And that is if they worked in the past or are currently working here. And then once again in parentheses, I have a little caveat of if they feel like they paid more into these social welfare programs than what their peers have, they can receive a percentage of the native-born U.S. citizens payout category. Moving on to category 2, citizens that are aged 31 through 48 will receive a payout of $6,000. And then moving on to category 3, citizens that are aged 49 to 150 will receive a payout of $10,000. I get this question a lot, why 150? That's just because I don't know who the longest living person in the United States is at this time, and I figure 150 will cover it. Okay, now that we've broken down every age group for both categories, what I tried to do was find out how many citizens in each age group are currently working or have paid taxes in the past, and I was unable to do so. That is information that the IRS or probably Census Department will have, and I'll try to get with them to find out that information and then push it out to you guys. But in the meantime, what I had to do was find out how many citizens there's projected to be in the future. So in 2025, for citizens that are aged 14 to 24, there's projected to be 51.4 million of them. So I did that number times $25,000, which will be the payout for that age group, and ended up with $1.2 trillion. Next, I moved on to citizens that are aged 25 to 30, and there's projected to be 39.8 million of them. So I did that number times 75,000, ended up with 2.9 trillion is projected to be the payout for that age group. And then for citizens that are aged 31 to 48 in 2025, there's projected to be 45.1 million of them, and I did that number times 150,000. The payout for that age group is projected to be $6.7 trillion. Lastly, for citizens that are aged 49 to 150, there's projected to be 96.9 million of them in 2025. So I took that number times $250,000, which will be the payout for this age group, and then ended up with $24.2 trillion. Once again, just to reiterate, these numbers for each age group aren't accurate. That's not the true number of citizens in each age group that are currently working and paying taxes or have worked in the past and paid taxes. Like I stated on the last slide, that is information I was unable to find, but hopefully the IRS or Census Department has that information on file, and if they do and I can get that information from them, then I can push that information out to you guys. Moving on to the middle here, if all numbers for each age group were accurate, then for the native-born citizens category, the true payout would be $35.2 trillion for all citizens to opt out of these social federal welfare programs. And then going on down to the bottom here, for non-native-born citizens, I was unable to find how many there are currently in the United States, so I was unable to find out what the true payout would be for that category. Moving on to incentives now. Once again, I have the tax-free non-debt collectible payments for each age group. So for citizens that are aged 14 to 24, they will receive a payment of $25,000. Citizens aged 25 to 30, $75,000. Citizens aged 31 through 48, $150,000. And then lastly, citizens that are aged 49 to 150, receiving a payment of $250,000. For a second incentive, every taxpayer that chooses the cash out option will receive 1 to 2 years of SNAP benefits. The thought process behind this being that people can come here illegally from other countries and reap the benefits and rewards of your hard-earned tax dollars, then why not you? Moving on down to the bottom, there's estimated to be 233.3 million taxpayers in America at this time. and the average net benefit per beneficiary is roughly $3,600 a year. So if this incentive was to pass, it'll cost the country roughly $839.8 billion a year, or over the course of 2 years, $1.7 trillion. At the top here, the next incentive will be a bigger tax credit for first-time home buyers. And a big part of this will be incentives home builders and suppliers will need and want in order to meet the national demand for new housing. The next incentive will be a tax credit for newer energy efficient home appliances. Save more money each year when you use less resources by trading in your old appliances. For the middle incentive, we have more tax credits and lower tax rates for new vehicle purchases. The nation needs to have safer, fuel efficient vehicles on the road, especially for our teen and young adult drivers. And then a big part of this as well will be the automakers and their ability to meet the national demand for new vehicles. To go along with this incentive as well, the taxes on luxury vehicle purchases will be done away with. And then for the last incentive for this slide, taxes on lottery and gambling winnings will be capped at 5%. This is to exclude the Powerball and Mega Millions lottery. The reason being the taxes from these two lotteries serve a greater importance compared to winnings from Vegas or scratchers. For the final slide here, for the first incentive, we have 0 to 5% taxes state and federally on personal property sales. And I give a few examples here, so things like yard sales and old vehicle sales. It just doesn't make sense to have to pay taxes once again on old pieces of clothing that you sell to somebody once you didn't already pay the taxes on those pieces of clothing that you bought at the store a number of years ago. Moving on to the second incentive, we have 0 to 5% tax cap state and federally on inheritance. It is highly immoral to have to pay taxes on money and assets your parents had already paid taxes on. And then for the last incentive for this slide, we have 0 to 10% tax cap on all stock market gains. There are so many other incentives that can be added to this forgiveness package, but if you guys have any in mind, please comment below and we can work on this thing together.